Welcome to the Bringing Intimacy Back show, where intimacy is real. If you desire to intimately connect with yourself, your significant other, children, family, friends, community, and higher power, this show is for you. We explore intimate topics, inspiring life stories, spirituality, and insightful tips on strengthening relationships. The show is hosted by Dr. April and her co-host, Coach K. Let's get this episode of the Bringing Intimacy Back show started. We share with you today the secret power to intimacy to create a life you love or love the life you create. Now, here's your host, Dr. April, and co-host, Coach K.
Welcome to the Bringing Intimacy show, where intimacy is real. How are you doing, Coach K?
I am doing great. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. Yeah, this past week was my birthday. I celebrated a milestone, so I'm feeling great. I feel like I have a lot of style, a lot of different things going on as I enter this new decade. So yes, I'm all excited about today's show.
Awesome. That's always good. You look nice and refreshed, and so I'm guessing that you had an amazing birthday.
Yes. Yes, definitely. Yes. And so as we are entering, this month of love, I just love February.
Yeah, it's a very special month for many, whether you're loving somebody else or you're loving yourself.
Exactly. And loving yourself is so important. It's loving yourself helps you to love other people. And there's so many people out there looking for love.
Absolutely. But the most important thing is to find it home first, and then you just spread it outwards and let it come in.
Yes. And then, I was doing some research for this show coming up. And when it talked about dating, I don't know if you've seen it also, but that self-love is so important. And now many people, when you're thinking about dating, they're asking, oh, have you gone to therapy? And it is one of the, like, if you said you've gone to therapy, it's not a taboo anymore. And actually it is like much more, I don't know, fascinating. In fact,
It's, one wouldn't even think about that first, but I think it's like a very important first step. And I'm so glad that it's way more accepted now. It's not like, oh, something wrong with you versus that's a smart move. Maybe I need to look into that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's changed because back in the day, no one talked about it. And if someone said you were going into therapy, you would be thinking like, oh my gosh, is something wrong with you? Yeah, dating has definitely changed.
It absolutely has. I even have a premarital coaching program so that if you take dating, far enough, let's put that foundation down first. But I think having therapy before you introduce somebody into your world, so you can understand your quirks, your qualms, your good points, and your worth. That's important too.
Yes, yes. It's to know your worth.
Yes.
It's extremely important. Yes. And that's sometimes it's not something that you can parents teach or you just pick up somewhere. Yeah, it's something that you do have to look through and, figure that way out. Definitely. So on today's show, we're talking about that in some aspects about dating and how dating has changed and changed with style.
I'm really excited to get to hear about it. I've been out of the dating world for a long time, so I'd be very interested in hearing more from this today for sure.
Yes, yes. So I've been in and out of the dating world, I guess, in some aspects. Yes, and so I'm looking forward to that. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about a little bit about the charity of the month because February, it's my favorite month. And the charity of the month is the Love Foundation, and they focus on about unconditional love, and people don't really understand that. People think love should be conditional, but really it should be unconditional.
Really should be. And then some people feel like they're given unconditional love, but there are a lot of conditions.
Yeah. Yeah, so they highlight that and they have a global love day, which is May 1st. So if you're like thinking about love and you want to understand more about love, check out the lovefoundation.com as one of our nonprofits for this month. So let me get into who we're going to have today. Our topic today is dating with style with Maura Ganghang. I am so excited about having her come on. She is the founder and the stylist of Wandering, Parisian, and Dating with Style, which is a fabulous organization. After several years as a public health professional, and she took like 3 months off in France with her family, and she made this career transformation to become a personal stylist. She has trained as a personal stylist and started her own business, Wandering Parisian. And during her time, she's actually, I guess, spent some time in France. She realized that the ease by which the French men and women, how in France they just are so colorful.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And their style and stuff. How that, and then approaching that toward dating, because she when she was single, she entered back into the dating world and things had changed. So I would love for her to talk about dating with style, and we're going to introduce her and talk more with her after we take our break in a moment.
Recognize your purpose. Who were you really meant to be? To recognize your purpose is to live life with clarity. You are here because you're supposed to be here. You're not an accident. You're here to do something for yourself, for someone, and somewhere. You have a job to fulfill and an everlasting mark to make. You are here on purpose.
Welcome back to the Bringing Intimacy show, where intimacy is real. So if you're out there and you're like, oh my gosh, during my situation, I'm going to have to be out there in the dating world and I just don't know what to do or how to do it. Well, this is the show for you. I would like to welcome our guest, Maura. Maura, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here, you guys.
Yes. We're excited to have you, and you're absolutely beautiful. So I'm just so excited to
Why, thank you.
And you said that with style. Yeah. So this show, one of the first thing about this show is we talk about intimacy. Mm-hmm. And intimacy comes in so many different forms. How do you define intimacy?
Oh gosh, the first word that comes to my mind is honesty, because I don't think that you can have intimacy or closeness with, friends or family or yourself if you don't have honesty. So for me, that's kind of where it begins. And then once you're honest, you can really share from your heart. Did you like the answer? Was that good?
Yes, I love how you put that honesty. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And how do you, because you're talking about dating, and yeah. Dating is such, can be scary, because because you don't know who you're meeting, how you're meeting, and all that. And then mm-hmm. Do I show my real self? Do I not show my real self? Yeah.
And when? Mm-hmm. And when do you show when do you, because, from my perspective, dating, and especially as we get older, if you've been in a situation, or, your listeners have been in a situation where they've been partnered for a really long time, and then they get out into the dating world, number one, it resembles nothing that they knew from before. Some people get out there and it's been decades, and that was my situation. It's been decades since I had been dating. And so, you really find yourself in a very vulnerable state. And so when I work with my clients that come to me looking to kind of up their game, kind of look a little bit more ready to get out there, I understand how vulnerable they are in the place that they're coming from. And that's both men and women.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would honestly say that it would never have dawned on me that things would look differently and you want to go out and look like you want to attract something. So this makes sense. Because I'm one of those folks that have just been under a marital rock for 17 years. So I'm like, I don't know what it looks like now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was my story. I was, as you had mentioned in the beginning, I was a public health professional, and I worked in the arena of health behavior research in maternal and child health. And what that really was is looking at people's behaviors, their motivators, their demotivators, what affected their behavior, environment, family, friends, all these sorts of things, and the effect that has on their health. And you could even say mental health too. So, it was a very interesting career. I really liked it, but like a lot of careers, it had its expiration, which is another show that we could do if you want.
Yeah.
But I decided, I wanted to do something more creative, more one-on-one. Public health is very macro level, so
Right.
it really lacked that intimacy of having a one-on-one relationship and knowing that you've made a difference with somebody. So that's kind of how Dating with Style came about. So when I got into my second, career as a personal stylist, I soon also found myself in my personal life in a situation where I was going through a separation and divorce. And so when I was getting out there and dating, I quickly realized that people really need some assistance around putting themselves together.
Yeah, Mara, I'm curious. What do you think about? I've heard that you really should date yourself first.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And even in the sense of with style, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Dress yourself up, date yourself first. So
I think
you
there's a
pretend your
lot to
life
be
is.
said for that, for sure. I 100% agree with that. And I think what that means, and that could mean different things to different people. So I think for me, what that meant was taking some time to get to know what it was that I wanted,
Okay.
And I think people don't really take the time to do that because they just kind of want, the past to go away. And the best way to get the past to go away is to go forward, right?
Right.
Kind of distract yourself with something bright and shiny. But then that doesn't really work. That doesn't really work. So I think dating yourself is a really good move as you're getting back out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's literally one of the topics in the relationship guide that I wrote was, I think the first pillar is learn yourself and then date yourself. So
Right.
you have to know what you like.
I think the separation, and again, I'll speak from my own perspective, my own, background is that, when you go through such a major life event, it takes a toll on you and you don't even sometimes realize it, that transition, it's a big transition. And again, I point back to the clients that I work with. This transition, it makes people feel very vulnerable, very on edge. And so when I'm able to help them at least kind of lock down that they look good, because when you look good, you can kind of put yourself, you can really kind of show up the way you want to for a date. But to really, it's an interesting time.
Yeah.
It's almost
So,
that,
Mara, we've been talking about this style. And how do you define style? What does that really even mean?
Yeah, I'm glad that you asked that question. It's a really good question. I think a lot of people think that, number one, they don't have style. But style really is an outward show of who you are on the inside and what you like. So I think everybody has style because you pretty much know what you like, but you may have a little bit of difficulty being able to curate that for yourself and putting things together. And so that's where I come in. So I really go off of what people are telling me their goals are, how they want to look. and what's kind of in their closet, what they like, and what they don't like. It's really an iterative process. It's a conversation. It's not me going out and buying clothes for somebody and saying, here, put this on, you look great. It's not that at all. It's because it's really about the person and how they feel, because if they feel good in what it is that they're wearing, they're going to really show that. And that's what we want. We want people to feel comfortable in their clothes, as you say, in their own skin. And that's kind of how I define style.
Wow. Yeah, I love how you said that, because it's, in my mind, I was thinking style. So, what's the style of what year we're in? 2022, what's the style in 2021? Yes. Yes.
Yeah, trends. Yeah.
Yes.
And I like to incorporate some of that if I can. I look at people's body types. I look at what they like. I'll nudge them a little bit if I see that there's an opening or if they're open to it, but I don't, force people to, put this on, kind of thing. Trust me. So like I said, it's an iterative process. It's getting to know what they like.
I think it's interesting. I thought that you would have been the one that's kind of shopping for them. So that's good to know, as well as, I guess that would just kind of open the window up for people to be more open to say, okay, it's not somebody that's just going to say, throw this on and go out there. It's just, you're really working with them.
Right. It's funny because I think, these, I don't even know the name. There's like two of these movies where there's like the dating coach, and he's working with some kind of guy that's like not sure about himself. And, it's a comedy, it's a rom-com, right? Like that's not what I do. I mean, I do shop for people, but it's definitely a process that happens beforehand before we do that. And I work virtually with people too. I'm not always able to go to people's homes, or again, during COVID, maybe people weren't open to having, people in their house, but they were still kind of dating or even virtually dating, and, wanted to, look the part, especially on Zoom. You don't see a whole lot. So let's see what we can work with.
So you highlight their assets is essentially what you do.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then I was also thinking, as Coach K was saying, you highlight their assets. Also, that sense of the, the law of attraction, like what you put out there.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So how does that impact who they're going to bring in? Your style. Yes. How does that work?
That's a really, really good question. I'm really glad you brought that up, because I believe in the law of attraction. I really do. And I think that's, in essence, kind of the backdrop of what I do. You want to put your best foot forward. You want somebody to see that you have put some effort into it, and, sometimes when you look at these online app profiles, people are just throwing anything up there. Do you know what I mean? And so I think
April's smiling big on this one. She's like, I think I've seen a few.
Right? Enough said.
Yes.
Yes. So, it's really, if you're putting that out there, that is what you were getting back. And so by the time people get to me, they've kind of already gotten over that hump of, I want to put my best foot forward. I'm not here to convince people that you should do this. Again, and I think that kind of goes back to Coach K, what you were saying. It's like you really have to spend some time with yourself on the self-reflection, and really kind of be okay with where you are, so you can put your best foot forward to get out there and have fun, just have fun and get to know people. This is a really interesting time in people's lives where they can be they can hit the reset button, they can be whoever they want,
Okay.
And
Yes.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah. We're going to take a break,
That
but
sounds
when we come
exciting.
back, I would love to hear about your process on how to get people to, if they haven't been dating, how do you start that whole process and figure out what you really like and creating that with style? So love to hear your process when we get back, and we'll take a break in a moment.
Are you wanting a vacation in paradise? A vacation to rekindle the passion. A vacation without the kids. A vacation where you can learn how to communicate, where you and your partner actually hear each other and gain insight. If so, vacation counseling is your next vacation. Dr. April Brown has created vacation counseling in Southwest Florida as a perfect option for you and your partner. Our retreats are one couple at a time. We have a variety of packages available to choose from, including virtual couples retreats. If you and your partner are interested in vacation counseling, please visit us at vacationcounseling.com for more information on pricing and packages. Also, follow us on Instagram and Facebook. To keep track of the latest news, stories, activities, or coupons on vacation counseling and Dr. April's other services, we encourage you to sign up to receive a monthly newsletter called Intimate Connections at draprilbrown.com. Remember, if you and your partner are struggling with communication and intimacy, and you all are looking for a retreat to connect, vacation counseling can be your next vacation in Southwest Florida.
Welcome back to the Bringing Intimacy show, where intimacy is real. So if you're out there and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to go back in the dating world, or maybe you're on a lot of different apps and you're like, I'm just getting the same old type of people, Maura's going to explain the process that she used in helping people date with style.
Thank you. So when I work with clients, again, we kind of start with a goal. How do you want to look? What are the adjectives that come to mind of how you want to look? And we kind of go back and forth. Let's say somebody will say, I want to look elegant, or I just want to look hot, or whatever that is. And then we have to kind of break that down. Like, okay, what does that mean to you? Because my definition may be different than their definition. So we really kind of get in a little bit into the nitty gritty of what that means. And then I show clients looks, and they can kind of say, yes, 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 no, no, no. We talk about body type. We talk about what's in the closet already. And my main goal for my clients is to get them to a point where they have go-to outfits that they love, that they can wear on dates. So they don't have to think about it. They don't have to, ask themselves, is my butt too big in this, or those sorts of things. They know they look good. And when you know you look good, you are able to get out there and show your true self on a date. And so that's kind of the process in a nutshell. I also encourage people, and this is super important, to really put on their, if they're, on dating apps, which a lot of us are, to put some really good pictures. Don't put pictures where they've got the sunglasses on or holding the fish, or you know what I mean? Like, it was funny. I just saw a TikTok that some guy did, and he went and he was kind of doing a spoof on the whole holding the fish up. Like, oh, women are gonna love this. Look at how big this fish is. They're just gonna love it. And it's funny, and we laugh about it, and you feel like everybody knows these things, but in fact, time after time, especially people that are just getting out there, they're just kind of throwing stuff up there, hoping something sticks, because they're just not sure. It's a process. It's a process. Mm-hmm. So I help them try to get through it.
Do you see that men and women may have like different concerns, in the sense that maybe sometimes men put a lot of their activities, like you were saying, like they're fishing and all these things, and women are, just doing the self-posing with no activities?
It's funny that you say that. And I actually did a little bit of primary data research on that, because I see guys' profiles. I don't necessarily see women's profiles as
right.
But it's my understanding that a lot of women put pictures of like them and their cat, or like you know.
You don't want to be the woman with all these cats. I mean, unless you attract, that's what you want to attract, is a man with all his cats.
Or or actually, this is a big one, and it has nothing to do with clothing, but a big
Right.
one, I think, and especially, and again, I'm an older person, I get it. You know, you women put pictures up that maybe they're altering things, and it's may or may not be obvious, but that's also not a good tactic, because again, you're not being truthful. If you're not truthful, you cannot be authentic, and you cannot attract the person that you are truly trying to have an intimate relationship with. It just doesn't work, you know?
Do you would think, or do you find that it's more difficult when you don't put your true self forward to even date? Because it's like, all right, I put this picture of someone altered up, and now they want to meet me in person. So does that build on top of the anxiety that's already there?
Exactly. It really, really does. You know, if just don't do it. Just don't do it. And again, I'm not saying that putting your best picture up of you is wrong. I'm not saying that at all. But I am saying don't alter it, you know, and don't put pictures up that are, you know, 10 years old. They're not. That's, you know, just embrace yourself, you know, embrace who you are. And, you know, if you've dated yourself, then you should be good to go on that front. But a lot of people won't put the best pictures of themselves up. And so I do encourage people to put, if they have professional pictures of themselves or pictures of just themselves in a nice area and a nice outfit.
Yeah.
I'm learning
And I do
to.
think that people should, when they date, they should also dress up. And I know we've been talking a lot about, you know, singles, but also the couples that have to do dates. You know, it's really important to keep your marriage and your relationship. And you should also dress up.
Yes. No,
Yes.
I completely agree. And I think, you know, that's one of the issues that single people have, is that, you know, they were in relationships where maybe, you know, if the relationship ended, chances are they weren't going out and having a good time up until the very end. You know, it may have been years since they had really gone out. You know, maybe they've got great professional work outfits, but and maybe even workout outfits, or, you know, stuff that they go and garden in, but they don't have going out clothes, you know. And again, during this time, people sort of fluctuate in weight. So maybe what's in the closet's not even fitting now. I mean, it really is a time where, like I said before, just hitting that reset button, start over, you know, divorce your closet. You got divorce your closet. But yeah, on the topic of couples too, I think it's important that you show your partner, you know, whether you're married or not, that you're putting in an effort to look nice. And I don't mean to sort of make it gender specific, but I feel like sometimes women really do try, and guys are like, meh, you know, and that's not nice. That's not fair.
Yeah. Yes. So should you judge a book by its cover? What do you think when the guy shows up like, I don't know. What do you girls think?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say, I think guys, and again, I don't mean to seem very sort of gender specific, but, you know, maybe women have invested a little bit more time in how they look, and guys kind of show up as is and sort of think, well, my personality should speak for me, you know? And that's part of it. Obviously, that is certainly part of it, but you also have to show that you've put a little bit of effort, you know, into something. If she's going to look really nice on a date, you know, don't show up in, you know, kind of trashy jeans that you were out gardening in, or tennis shoes that look like you've been gardening. You know what I mean? Like, you have to show the effort, because it really does send a message. And again, I'm not saying that people have to spend a lot of money, you know, on their clothes, but take that extra time. You know, it does show that you're showing up, you know, that you really care about how you look for the other person.
Well, I'm fortunate enough that my husband, he was like a pretty boy, I guess, way back in his younger life. And he cares about what. Sometimes I'm like, oh, just throw on those pants with the old spot on them. I just want to go and eat, because we absolutely, we date, you know.
Okay.
We don't do movies, but I love to eat. I love to eat. So if he tells me he's gonna take me out to eat, I may be the one that throw on the ripped up jeans sometimes, but
Uh-huh.
absolutely being able to date each other is super important. But he does care, because if I say, hey, you know, when you get off work, he drives truck, we're gonna go somewhere. He's like, oh, I can't go in this. I'm like, oh, okay, hurry up, go shower, I guess.
I'm hungry. Hurry up. Well, you are very lucky. You are very lucky, and I applaud him.
And I think when you dress up, you feel better.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You can buy
You go
extra
in with
drink, you know,
energy.
when you look nice.
Yes.
And apparently, if you are in therapy or have thought about therapy, you're also attractive too. I was listening to the beginning of the show, and it's funny because I just read that article too. And yeah, it's kind of a turnoff for people that are turned off by therapy or the idea of therapy, you know? I think that's real. I'm so glad that you brought that up, because again, you want to feel good. You want to, and styling yourself is part of it, but it's not all of it, right? I mean, you have to take care of you.
Right, right. But like you said earlier about style, it's like coming from within. And so you can wear the whatever, but if you don't have that passion or that self-confidence,
Yeah.
it just comes off as, drab. Does that make sense?
Yes.
In some
Yes.
aspect, yes.
Yes. It does. It does.
Yeah.
And I think you asked me this earlier too, if men and women have sort of the same concerns. And I think deep down that they do. It may manifest differently, but I think that, we all want to be accepted, and we all want to be liked, and hopefully loved, with some, with people that we're dating. But, it's, I think everybody is kind of, we're a little bit shy. We're a little bit shy in the beginning, and I think that goes across the board.
Okay. So I just had a question that someone asked me through text. And they're thinking, sometimes if I dress up too much, and she's a beautiful person, that's all the guy sees. It's my looks.
Yeah. Well, you remember when I said, so if guys don't dress up, my personality should speak for itself? It's like,
oh, yeah, you did say that.
Right?
Yes.
So we're going to flip that. We're all human. We're all attracted to what we're attracted to. And of course, it's nice to look nice, and you want to be appreciated for that, but you want to be appreciated for other things too. Right? I think, and that's friendship too, right? You don't want fake friends that just like you because of whatever,
Right.
You want to be like, I would say that sort of is in the same category, then maybe you should be vetting better.
Yes.
Both friends and people that you date. But no, I understand what your listener is saying for sure.
Right, right. And kind of just like you were saying about fake friendships, but also like if you dawdle up and you did all these extra things, such as eyelashes and just, things that you add on, the variety of extensions, and we all do all that. Yeah. But then at the end, when you're together, and all that stuff comes off, you don't want them to be like, oh my gosh, is this what you look like?
Like that.
Well,
Yeah.
hopefully at that point, yeah. Right.
Yeah. I mean, have any of you guys heard of that, or heard people say that? Or, I mean,
I think that goes into the same category as don't kind of fudge your pictures, don't alter your pictures, because you're not doing yourself any favor. I think you were right, actually. Dr. April, you brought up the fact that creates a little bit more anxiety for yourself. Even.
right.
because now you're kind of thinking, oh gosh, I'm going to have to, show up and they're going to see the real me. But I think, your listener, I will say, if that's her style, frankly, right? Like she's showing what she wants to show. That's her. That's her style. And she should do that. I mean, all day long. Like that's just her showing her light. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And we don't do it for other people to go, wow. We do it for ourselves. She's probably dressing for herself. And I think it's nice to be appreciated for that. But I think that's for her, right?
Right. I think what you just said was correct. We got to be authentic in what we do. Yes. We're going to take a short break. And then when we come back, we're going to get information about how we can connect with you.
Great.
So our audience. So if you're out there listening and you want to connect with her, stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment.
It's time for the Fools in Love Couples Retreat. Join Coach K for a weekend of sharing, exploring, and learning all about the amazing world of relationships and marriage. You will explore and discuss topics such as communication, intimacy, sex, work-life balance, infidelity, and more. For further information on the Fools in Love Couples Retreat, visit foolsinlove2022.eventbrite.com or info@loveandintimacy101.com.
Welcome back to the Bringing Intimacy Show, where intimacy is real. So, Maura, if people out there listening and they want to connect with you.
So I have a website, wanderingparisian.com. I'm also on Instagram, and that is Dating with Style Club. And then also at Wandering Parisian. I also want to say that I've created just a real easy sort of freebie thing about the six style struggles when dating and easy remedies that people can do. So if you're on Instagram or you go to my website, you can reach out to me and I can send this to you. It's can't really see it, but it's just an easy thing. And again, it's a lot of what we had talked about of having a good profile and really showing you your best self.
Okay, awesome. I have one quick last question that I forgot to ask. Where did the Wandering Parisian come from? Where did that title come
from? So I spent about 3 months in France with my then husband, and he was working there, and I took off my job as a public health person. We moved there, and I just that was really the impetus of everything. I just saw how everybody just looked really good, all the men and women all the time. And I was just like, my God, I mean, it was kind of humbling. And I appreciated it, but it was simple things, and I thought that's what I want to do because I think it kind of gives them a little bit of an edge and confidence. And yeah, and I've always had sort of this style gene in me. So everything kind of came together. So that's how it happened. So Wandering Parisian.
Oh, I
love it.
Well, thank you, Maura, so much for being on the show. It's been amazing.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this, both of you. Thank you so much.
It was nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Right. We'll take a short break and then we come back and Coach K will let us know what's happening next.
Recognize your purpose. Who were you really meant to be? To recognize your purpose is to live life with clarity. You are here because you're supposed to be here. You're not an accident. You're here to do something for yourself, for someone, and somewhere. You have a job to fulfill and an everlasting mark to make. You are here on purpose.
Welcome back to the Bringing Intimacy Show, where intimacy is real. Wow, Coach K, I just learned so much about style and that it's from within and and how to help my clients and people I know who are dating. Yes.
That's definitely an awesome show, and she's a great resource now that you even know that this person exists. So I'm really excited about everything, and I definitely going to be following her on Instagram so I can see all kinds of goodies that she has there. Well, we actually have some good shows that are coming up. This is going to be a good one to follow. So some of the upcoming shows that we have on February the 10th, we have Dr. Allison Kay coming on with Vibrational Upgrade, a conspiracy for your bliss, not your difficulty. Then on February 17th, it's going to be a very special show with Dr. April and myself. We're going to be talking about intimacy, retreats, and sex. February the 24th, we have Gabby Valdez that's going to be coming on, and she's going to be talking about dating and relationships. And then on March the 3rd, we have Dr. April and myself, and we're going to be talking about the aspects of different types of retreats. So really excited about that. And just to remind you all, if you're not already, if you're watching us here on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you know every time that we go live, and make sure you're following us on Instagram and LinkedIn. We're everywhere, aren't we?
Yes, we are. And we're going to be learning more everywhere with style. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Well, this has been a wonderful show. Thank you, Coach K. And I will see you next week. This has been the Bringing Intimacy Back show, where intimacy is real. Bye.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Bringing Intimacy Back. We hope you enjoyed it. You can also find us at bringingintimacyback.com or Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter. For Dr. April Brown's 4-book series, Improving Intimacy, you can also find her as an author on Amazon. Available in Kindle, ebook, and paperback. We'll see you next Thursday at 3 p.m.